store, and I make curry in my queen's home in this little kitchen. So that's why my brand is called Queen's Curry Kitchen. You're welcome to join me today. Let me tell you quickly, we are continuing our series with pantry ingredient essentials, and today the dish that we're going to make is ta-da, from using this. Okay, so this is nothing but a humble can of beans that is easily available in all grocery stores and supermarkets. So we are going to learn how to make Rajma masala, Indian style, using store-bought kidney beans. If you have pink beans, you can use those. If you have the dried beans that you bought from the dry goods store, then soak them overnight and then boil them till tender. And then the rest of the process is exactly the same. All right, so quick run through with what's going on here. I did go ahead and caramelize 2 onions. This is the part that takes the longest time. So I thought I should do it ahead and then join you to let you know what else is going to go into this recipe. So I grated some ginger. I put 1 tablespoon of cumin seeds, and this is 2 onions that went into this pot, and I am sauteing this. I'm doing it in my Instant Pot, but if you have a karai, if you have a wok, if you have a frying pan, you can totally make the tempering in that. All right, so once they're as brown as this, now is the time to add in our 3 fresh plum tomatoes. I would urge you to keep using fresh produce till you are able to have access to it. As long as you're getting it, try to use more of fresh stuff and not so much canned stuff, because your immunity will really thank you for it. Okay, this Rajma masala has to have a very tangy bite of tomatoes, and at this time of the year, these tomatoes are not very tangy. So what we do to help them along a little bit is to use store-bought tomato puree, and I'm going to use 2 ladles full. Now remember, I'm making 2 cans of these kidney beans. So I'm making 2 cans, and to this, I'm going to add 2 ladles. If you're making it in the summer and you have good tomatoes in season, by all means, stick with those, but then churn them into the blender so they're nice and smooth, because the rajma is supposed to be really, really smooth. All right, so this is going to keep doing its thing. I'm also going to show you some other things that we're going to use to enhance flavor. I will use 3 bay leaves. I will use 2 black cardamoms. If you don't have them, you can totally skip it and probably use more garam masala in the end. So I'm using 2 black cardamoms, and I'm using 3 or 4 cloves. If these things bother you and you're scared that they'll come in your mouth, also you have the option of using clove powder, or you can skip it and just use garam masala, or then it's very hard to fish for cloves once the dish is made. But you know, I'm Indian, so we really grew up around this stuff. Okay, so you can see that the tomatoes are coming along really beautifully. All right, and I'm going to give it a few minutes. I took the beans and I rinsed them out so that there is no extra sodium in this. If you're doing dry beans that you bought from the dry goods store that come in a packet, then soak them overnight, rinse them, throw out the soaking water, and then boil them again in fresh water. Always remember, when you're making beans or legumes, they're actually seeds. So soak them, rinse them, and soaking gives best results. So you can boil them on a stovetop or whatever. Okay, I'm going to add tomatoes. I've always told you that the trick to having your tomatoes break down quicker is to add salt. As soon as you add tomatoes, add the entire salt for the dish into your pot, and that salt helps to bring out the moisture of the tomatoes and helps to break it down sooner, faster, quicker, and more efficiently. You can see it's such a good color. The combination of the tomato puree with the fresh tomatoes are such a good combination. I have some comments coming, and I'll be with those comments in just a second. Let me just add all the seasonings. This is good old coriander powder. I make my own from seeds, so there are no fillers. It's lightly roasted, and then I grind them in my spice mill. If you like any of the spices that you see and you'd like to order some, you can always send me a private message. I have my own line of spices that you can get. Not all the spices are listed on www.queenscurrykitchen's website. but you can certainly send me a message. At this point, I will also add our turmeric, our immunity booster, which we totally need right now in our lives. And I'm going to add some paprika. If you like cayenne pepper and you like heat in your food, use cayenne pepper. I use paprika because I just really don't like heat. So that's what we need right now. And we are going to wait for this to kind of get a paste-like consistency and also for all the oil to skim to the top, however little I've used. So you're going to keep giving it a gentle stir and it'll keep coming together. All right, I'm going to jump quickly into the comments. Hello, Nana. Welcome. I am so happy that I get to see you every day out here. Yes, my videos are available for replay. If you go back into, if you share it with your friends or family or you start a watch party, the watch party does not allow a replay mode. But if you share it from your feed, there is a replay button and you can catch it back at any time. Chaitanya, hello. Chaitanya is my mentor who helped me to lose 10 pounds. Yes. So she's phenomenal, and she always encourages me to cook without oil, which I do for myself. All right. So the surprise for today is that I'm also going to be showing you a second recipe, and guess what it involves? The ugly banana. Remember, we did something with bananas the other day? So this is the last one in the batch that no one wants to eat. Of course, it's pretty ugly looking, but we are going to convert it into something that people will love. So for this recipe, while this is happening, I'm going to get prepped for this. We are going to use good old blackberries, which are in abundance. This is about 2 little boxes. You know, the little tiny square boxes. So this is about 2 boxes. These are rinsed. Just make sure that none of them have mold on them. They should be nice and clean. And I'm actually jumping to use them because see how they've become really soft. And I know that after a couple of days, they're not even going to be good anymore. So I'm just going to jump ahead and use these because I hate to waste food, especially in this time. Okay, so these are, the tomatoes are coming along beautifully. I'm going to just add a little bit of water to help it along the way so that it does not get stuck to the bottom. Okay, so we are going to make Rajma masala and we are also going to make a blackberry and banana chutney. Let me familiarize you with the ingredients that are going into making this fantastic chutney. So any kind of Indian chutney has a nice balance between sugar, salt, sour, sweet. So that's what we're going for. So in this chutney, what we're... Oh my God, this knife. If you don't have this knife in your house, you're not Indian enough. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to use grated ginger, okay, and a half of a fresh orange. I'm also using some raisins. If you're not a fan of raisins, you can use dates. This recipe also calls for good old sugar. If you don't do white sugar, you can do maple syrup, you can do jaggery, you can do brown sugar, you can do coconut sugar. Oh God, I'm trying to think what are the possibilities. So any kind of sugar. Don't do stevia or Splenda. Don't cook it in the chutney. You can always add it later on. Okay, so this is coming along really well. It's getting a paste-like consistency. Yes, and also to the chutney, we're going to add cumin seeds. We're also going to add some Himalayan pink salt. Okay, so the balance of sweet and salty will come from the sugar, from the salt, from the raisins, and of course from the fresh fruit that we're going to be using. And it's already overripe, so that's a good thing because we know that we are going to put it to good use. Let me quickly go back into the Rajma masala. This is called the tadka or the tempering, and it's coming along really well. See how it's become pasty and it's becoming homogeneous. You can see the change in the consistency after we added a little bit of water to help it along. Keep giving it gentle stirs. I'm gonna grab some cilantro and be right back. There we go. I'm gonna add cilantro. I just like to add cilantro at every stage of cooking. I don't know why. It might be an obsession, which is not healthy, but I don't know what to do about it. Okay. So this is coming along really well. So this technique of Indian cooking is called bhunna. Bhunna means to keep searing it and to keep giving it color and extracting all the moisture from it till it actually becomes fried in the oil that you put for the tempering. And this is the basis for a lot of North Indian dishes where you have some kind of ginger, garlic, cumin, and some whole seeds, and you do something like this. It's a very, very North Indian thing to do. Down in the south or in the east or in the western part, there's several different techniques that are used, but this is a very basic Indian technique. Now you have to remember, in Rajma masala, there is no garlic. In authentic Rajma masala, there's only ginger, no garlic. So restaurants tend to put everything in everything, but that's not exactly how it works in real life. It can deglaze the bottom. Whatever I'm doing in an instant pot, by all means, you can do it on a stovetop. You can do it on your Dutch oven. You can do it in a nice non-stick saucepan. Don't think that you have to have the Instapot for this, okay? I'm just doing it because I don't have a stove connection and it's easier for me to make it in this. Also, if you're using dried beans instead of the canned beans, then soak them overnight, rinse off that water, and then add fresh water to it to give it a nice boil till they're tender like this. Add some salt when you're boiling it, and that should be it. Alright, so here is the next step. My tadka is almost ready. This is called tadka or the curry base. This is ready. I'm gonna dunk in all my beans. Going in right now. Sometimes my mom used to even add cubes of potatoes to this, but I was never a fan of potatoes and beans together. But hey, you know what? If you like it, go for it. I once did a party for a friend and I added shrimps to this, like fresh shrimps, and it really turned out to be so yummy. People could not stop eating it and could not stop talking about it. So yeah, but I did make it kind of dry. I didn't make it very soupy at that time. Okay, so now the beans and the tempering are well combined. The beans and the curry base are well combined. So I'm going to go ahead and add water. Most of the time when you are adding some kind of liquid to your curry, make sure it's hot water and not cold. It makes the world of a difference. Because cold water actually immediately brings down the temperature of your dish, and that is not cool. Okay, at this point I'm going to check for seasoning. It definitely needs more salt, so I'm going to add more salt to this. I've made 2 cans of beans, and I'm trying to feed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, so that's good enough. And I'm going to make some boiled rice with peas. I just added some salt. So Himalayan pink salt is a little bit more mild, which means that if you are used to using regular salt, then you might need to add just a little bit more. Since I added the water, I'm also going to add coriander powder again. And this is freshly ground coriander powder, not from the store. This is done from seeds, so there are no fillers, there's no hanky-panky. It's just the real stuff. Some garam masala, and that's it. Okay, gonna give it a good stir. I already threw in a handful of cilantro before, so that's that. I'm gonna cover this and go to manual mode and cook this for about 6 minutes, and that should do it. Yep, that should do it. I'm gonna cook it for 6 minutes, but you know what? I really need to make some room for our chutney tutorial, so I'm gonna get this guy out of the way and come back for the chutney. Okay, so we are back in business making the second item, which is a surprise for today. I usually try to do one recipe, but I just felt like, hey, what the heck, why not, right? So here I am. Oh boy, I hope my camera doesn't act up again like what it did before. So we are going to make some blackberry and banana chutney, Indian style. So this is an overripe banana, as you can see. My pan is set to hot. The first thing I must do is, and it calls for maybe just like 2 minuscule drops of oil. You can also do a dry roast, but this helps to get it along a little faster. Okay, so we are going to heat this pan. This is about 2 boxes of blackberries that are about to go bad, maybe in the next couple of days. Right now, they're pretty sweet, but they've become kind of dry. And this is an overripe banana. Into this recipe, we will also use raisins, half an orange, some grated ginger, some sugar, pink salt, a couple of cloves just for good flavor, and my favorite, which you don't have to put, Asafoetida. So it's a chutney. It's supposed to have sweet, sour, tangy, spicy, everything. The only thing I won't put is crushed chili flakes because I just don't like heat. So I'm going to prep this banana while this pan heats up. I'm going to prep it by cutting into small pieces. So it's going to give a really nice, interesting texture. So the berries will break down because of the sugar, and then the banana will give it a nice texture. We will cut the banana into little cubes, and everything will go in at the same time. So this is really a no-brainer recipe. If you want to do it in your Instapot, just put everything in together and just stick it in for maybe 3 or 4 minutes manual and walk away from it. When you come back, you have a really good chutney without using any pectins, without using any gelatin. It's completely vegan, and it really stores well in the fridge for about a week. Always remember, when you put sugar in something or when you put salt in something, it acts as a good preservative. So pickling or preserving with fruit preserves using sugar, those are all techniques of preserving stuff. Time to clean my sticky hands a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go in and add the ginger. And I'm gonna add my cumin seeds. My mom always puts some Nigella seeds into this, and I love it too, but if you don't have them or if you don't have a thing for it, you can totally omit that. And you can see there's like barely any oil in it, right? And you'll see it'll turn aromatic very quickly. So you will know that it's time to add all your other good stuff. We're not trying to burn the cumin, even though what you can do is, if you really like the taste of toasted cumin, you can actually dry roast the cumin till it actually turns black and then grind it in your mortar and pestle. That also gives a really, really nice flavor to your chutneys. So I've just made it aromatic enough. It smells really good in here. All of the fruit goes in one shot. Maybe I shouldn't have taken a black pan with blackberries, right? Because you can't really see much. All right, I'm also going to dunk in the sugar. This is about a little less than half a cup. If you don't do sugar, you can do maple syrup, coconut sugar, jaggery. The idea is to actually draw out the natural sugars of the fruit and give it a syrupy consistency, and then we're going to mash this down. If you like strawberries, you can do the same thing with strawberries. If you like apples, you can do the same thing with apples. This is just a basic technique to make any Indian style chutney. I'm going to turn up the heat to full. You can see how it's starting to get really stringy and syrupy. You can see the back of the spoon is getting coated with the sugar that's breaking down. At this point, I'm going to add my handful of raisins, because I just love raisins in my chutneys. And they actually plump up. When they soak up the sweet liquid, the raisins actually plump up. So it's a really good texture. I don't know if you can hear it, but the sugar is starting to bubble right now. This is more fun than candy making. I hope you can see this, right? All right, and I'm going to add some salt. It just has to be a little bit of salt, not like, it's not a salty dish, it's just a tad bit of salt. just to create that contrast, you know, on your palate. It's not a salty chutney. It's just a chutney with a hint of sea salt or pink salt or black salt, whatever you have. See how it's breaking down? I hope you can see, like, it's all like nice and glazed. And it's coming along really beautifully. To this, I will add 2 cloves. If you don't want to do cloves because you're afraid like you'll never be able to fish them out once the dish is made, you can actually add just a pinch of clove powder towards the end of the completion process. That should do it. Okay? It's really bubbling away. Smells absolutely incredible. The bananas are breaking down. If you want to add cardamom, you can. And you can totally do this without any oil. Like, I added the 2 spoons of oil just to get the ginger going. But you can add powdered ginger to this and totally skip the oil part. You don't have to use oil, because as soon as you put the sugar and the fruits, they're going to start breaking down. You see how the pectin is getting released? Just from the sugar syrup alone, right? And the heat is pretty high. So I'm going to keep stirring this, and also keep mashing it down with the back of your spoon. It's really incredible. To this, I'm going to add, believe it or not, I'm going to add my favorite Asafoetida. I think it just gives it a nice kick and reminds me of the, you know, the street food in India where they serve all these chaats, which are yogurt and tamarind chutneys. It just kind of gives you that sort of a feel. You see how it's really bubbling away? We did not even add 1 drop of water to this. So all the moisture that you're seeing is coming out from the addition of the salt and the sugar to the fruits. There you go. Can you see? And there's no gelatin in this. There is no china grass, no agar-agar. None of those thickening agents have been used. So good. I'm going to go ahead and add a little more of this. Now be very careful. This is almost like candy boiling. So if you stay away from these bubbling thingies. Exercise caution. There you go. It's almost ready. One surprise ingredient that I'm going to add at this point is this. Look what this is. This is a lemon essential oil. And if you don't have this, you can always go ahead and add just the juice of half a lime or lemon. It gives a nice brightness to your chutneys. Especially if you're using dates or you're using some heavy sugars. It just brightens up the dish. And immediately it's so aromatic. Like, you can really smell the lemon kicking in. So your blackberries have broken down, the bananas broken down, the raisins have plumped up. A lot of people like to add nuts to this chutney too. I'm not a fan of nuts in my chutney, but hey, if that's what makes you happy, go for it, okay? Alright, so you don't have to stir this too much. You don't have to do too much to it. It's pretty much good to go. I'm just going to mash it with the back of my spoon. I'm going to turn off the heat. I'll push this over and transfer it to something like this so you can really see better how it looks. This black pan is really not doing much of a service to. Oh my god, look at the rich color of this chutney. Life does not get any better than this. Check it out, guys. You see how vibrant this is? The last step before we do anything else, let me show you how thick this is. Like, just a test. See. You see how thick it is? There's no gelatin, there's no animal bones or any kind of thickening agent. If you feel like your chutney is a little bit runny, either have it boiled down a little more, or then you can just add 1 teaspoon of corn flour in about 4 teaspoons of cold water and add it to your simmering chutney, and it's going to help to thicken it down to the consistency of jam. If you don't like a chunky chutney, which this is apparently, you can always run it through a hand blender, or you can stick it in your Vitamix, and everything will come together smoothly. In that case, don't add the orange till you actually have removed it from the Vitamix. Once it cools, add your half an orange, the juice of half an orange. And I always like my chutneys to be a little more textural, so I like chunky chutneys and chunky peanut butter. That's just the nature of the beast that I am. But of course, everybody has their own preference. Some people like to add fresh mint leaves or whatever. I'm not a fan because I feel like the mint leaves turn really black. So I don't like to do that. But yeah, this is ready to go. You're going to let it cool and then you can stick it in bottles and you can eat it with your flatbreads. You can eat it with your evening snacks, with your chai, with your fritters, and you can eat potato cutlets. You know what? Tomorrow for my Facebook Live, I'm actually going to make vegetable and potato cutlets, which is a huge tea time snack. See, this is how it looks. Okay, see how thick it is? You can keep mashing it with the back of your spoon. Yeah, you can just keep mashing it with the back of your spoon till you actually get the consistency that you desire. And that's that. And you can pretty much do this with any fruit. You can do it with strawberries, with raspberries, with blackberries, with blueberries. And when you add a little bit of a banana, it gives it that nice creamy texture. Even though we chopped the banana into small pieces, and you can see the color is absolutely to die for. My mom actually makes a sweet chutney with tomatoes and apples, and the technique is pretty much the same. But she does that in the summer when tomatoes, actually in India, in winter, the tomatoes are really good. So she makes them in the winter time. All right, so I'm going to be very brave and do a sampling of this super hot chutney. It's so syrupy, I'm just scared to eat it because I don't want to burn my tongue. Oh my god. This, I know it has sugar and I know it's sinful, but it's so good. You do get the seeds of the blackberries. So if you're anal about not getting any seeds in your mouth in a chutney, then definitely run it through a strainer and smooth it out with the back of your spoon so it'll be nice and smooth. And you won't have to bite into any seeds. But if you like fruit preserves, seeds are a part of it. I enjoy it personally. But, to each his own. If it doesn't do anything for you, then definitely strain it out and throw out the seeds, but use the pulp. Okay, so tomorrow I will be doing a potato and vegetable cutlet for the Facebook Live. So definitely join me. Once again, thank you for all the people who are placing orders. I am trying to keep up and I'm shipping everything out promptly. Also, your free gifts of the white chocolate rasmalai bark are going into every order that is now shipping. So if you haven't placed your orders, you can do so. www.queenscurrykitchen.com/order online. There is an online shop link and you can get whatever you want, or you can send me a personal message and I will be very happy to help you make your decisions. So tomorrow, don't forget to join me again at noon Eastern time. We will be making some potato cutlets, which we will serve with our chutney. Yay! Yes, so this chutney will stay in the fridge for a week. I hope you will give it a try, and I hope that you will enjoy the creations that we're coming up with every single day, just so that you're not bored. I hope my FB Live is able to either give you ideas or provide entertainment or just kick some boredom. I know it's hard to stay at home and do nothing. Thank you again for joining me. Until then, namaste. Be safe. Take care of yourself and of your loved ones. And I will see you again tomorrow at the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Thank you. Be flavorful. Be blissful. And thank you for your love and support. It means the world to me. Goodbye and God bless.